The habit of speaking apologetically of oneself as being old, merely because one has reached the age of 40 or 50, instead of reversing the rule and expressing gratitude for having reached the age of wisdom and understanding.
That was from the book Think and Grow Rich. That is an amazing, wonderful book. I just listened to it again and got this message today where it's talking about the sixth sense. The sixth sense is something that develops in us after the age of 40. Even Napoleon Hill was talking about the sixth sense, which is this place of creation that happens. You don't get that knowledge from books. You don't get it from anywhere. You can call it intuition. You can call it the divine. You can call it the place of the unknown. Some people say it's universal intelligence. That's where most ideas or things that are exceptional, that is this new, that has not been seen or heard of, comes from the use of the sixth sense. A lot of the things Thomas Edison did was synthetic imagination. Even Jeff Bezos with Amazon. It's a mix of synthetic and the sixth sense. Even Elon Musk, things like that with the Tesla. Well, I don't know for a fact, but I think the Tesla creation of that kind of creation comes from the use of synthetic and the sixth sense. Anyways, using affirmations, you can get to the place where your thoughts and your speech, your way of thinking, you create a heightened awareness just from becoming aware of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. Affirmations are words that we speak, thoughts that we have. I was talking to a coworker the other day about awareness, and I was not asking him to quiz. It was not a quiz. I was not trying to put him on the spot, but this man kept saying, because I made reference to a doctor that I had lunch with in the break room. So we had a good conversation. I was sharing some information with my coworkers, and they were like, yeah, that doctor is really nice. She's very down to earth. She's nice. She'll have lunch with you and she'll just have conversation. I said, yes, she has a heightened sense of self-awareness. This coworker said, yes, me too. I have a high sense of awareness. So that was what made me ask him that question. What is awareness? He was just looking like a deer in a headlight. And he ended up going to Siri to ask Siri, what is awareness? So Siri gave him some definition. So I told him I'm going to give you 3 definitions of awareness. Awareness is seeing what has always been there. Number 2, awareness is paying attention and noticing. The third one is just the one I just love this one the most. Awareness is becoming conscious of your unconscious thought. So all day long, we're having conversations in our head. We're having this talk with ourselves. So the talk that you have with yourself is what makes you do anything you do. Most people that cannot make business investment or take a chance at things that they are not familiar with because of fear of failure, fear of what if I don't succeed, is coming from their awareness, the conscious or unconscious thought that you're having. We all have these 2 voices in our head all the time. We are coaching ourselves. Do you know you are the best coach that you can have? You are the best coach. Nobody can coach you more than you can coach yourself. But you just have to know who you give more airtime to. Because whenever you decide to do anything, there's a voice inside of you that tells you, play safe, I want to protect you. That's your the villain voice in your head. But your hero voice is telling you, look, there's possibilities here. Go for it. Do it. Take that leap. Invest. Go. Take that move. Do something. Because of the fact that it's something you've never done before, it's uncomfortable. When you learn to understand how those voices in your head is controlling your actions, and when you learn how to quiet the voice that does not enhance you to do what you need to do, think about it. How many times have you had unique ideas, very, very unique ideas, right? And you shoot yourself down and say, yeah, that's really no good. But a week, a month, a year afterwards, you see that idea, somebody else has done it. And you're like, wow, I had that idea first. But you let your villain voice talk you out of that idea. You let the villain voice win. And that idea was coming from where? The supernatural, the divine, could be the sixth sense. And the beauty about this sixth sense, when that intuition, when that idea comes, is very soft. There's no pressure. It's very calm voice. Idea will tell you, why don't you do this? Or there's possibilities here. We all have that intuition. We all have that voice. But because of the fact that that voice just doesn't stand boldly in front of you and tell you, you must do this right now because you will succeed or you will prosper. No, that's not how intuition, that's not how the divine, that's not how the sixth sense works. It works all day long. We get ideas all day long. We get intuition all day long. But when you're not aware, this thing goes over your head. It goes constantly going over your head. Every human being has all the ability, all the possibility, all the chances in the world to succeed, to be great at something. We all have that inherent quality in us at birth to be great at something. The only thing is that we let fear, we let that villain voice control, take over, take charge of our actions, of our thoughts. And when that voice takes over your thought, it's crippling. It cripples your creativity, it cripples your ability, it cripples your desire, it cripples your energy, your one power, not even willpower. One power just dies. Let's start crafting, learn techniques, learn the ways to use affirmations to get back that awareness, ability to see opportunities and go for it. So somebody asked me, does affirmation work? I said, the best way to answer that question is with another question. What if affirmations work? What if it does work? What is an affirmation? Affirmation is nothing but words that you speak and thoughts that you're thinking constantly. And man is a thought being. We have about 50 to 75,000 thoughts every day. When you're thinking the same thought all day long and every day, 7 days a week, you cannot have a different outcome. So when you learn to understand the thought that you are having and how to become conscious of your thoughts, so not just conscious, also of your unconscious thoughts. Unconscious thoughts are things, are seeds that have been planted even before we knew what was happening, before the age of reasoning. And that's why a lot of people, pretty much everybody, we do things that we know that is not the best thing for us to do, but we end up doing it anyway. Where do habits come from? Habits come from subconscious programming. Subconscious programming, that's what a habit is. So those habits, things that we keep doing over and over and over, some people want to get a different result, but they don't want to change the habit. If you don't change the habit, how are you going to get a different result? There's something I have worked hard on getting rid of this thing, and I'm getting rid of that word in my vocabulary, which is African time. African time is a cop-out, it's nonsense. People say African time. But if you want to do something, there's nothing like African time. African time is a construct that we created to give ourselves an excuse to be sloppy, to be not responsible, not diligent. So African time is nonsense. Get rid of that thing. If you say things like African time is wrong programming, there's only the time. There's 2 o'clock, there's 3 o'clock, there's 4 o'clock. There's no 2:30 African time. 2:30 is 2:30. It's not 2 o'clock African time. So is a habit that people get into because they make excuses all day long. My last visit to Nigeria, I think it was before COVID. I went to Nigeria in 2019. I was having this conversation with my people, and whenever we set up a meeting, I show up on time, and they tell me African time, that there's traffic, I can control it. That's true. Nigerian traffic could be something else. If you've never been to Nigeria, Nigerian traffic could be crazy, right? You could get stuck in traffic for 3 hours and for what reason? Because of ego. Somebody doesn't want to back up to give the other man a chance to go through. And they'll end up blocking the whole expressway for hours. But my argument with them was, okay, it's clear that there's always going to be some kind of story, some kind of traffic, some kind of whatever. Is it possible that you leave home 2 hours, 3 hours, or figure out a time that gives you plenty, ample chance to get to this meeting because of the unforeseeable issues that might arise? When I say things like that, they look at me like, really? I said, yes, really. So if you can make some adjustments, then this nonsense about African time, giving excuses for everything, this goes out of the window. And for some reason, when I'm in Nigeria, I like to go to places very early in the morning because I know the traffic is very less, or later at night. But they say those are dangerous times because of this and that. But the reality is, that's not true. There's less crimes at very early in the morning and late at night because there's less people on the road, there's less cars on the street. I get to go to places I need to get to early on time, and I take care of my business. So anyways, one thing I want to leave with you before I end this right now is that there are no shortage of information out here in the universe. Whatever you want to accomplish, there's somebody that has done that thing. All you need to do is find out who has done what you're trying to do and follow the footsteps, and you'll get the same result. Follow the footsteps. I've paid a lot of coaches to learn a lot of things that I do. I spent money. I've learned from some great people, some mentors. Some people want to achieve everything they want in this life without getting uncomfortable in their pocketbook. Good luck. That's what I say to you. Ask yourself, where you are now from where you were 5 years ago, is it the same place you are? And if you are the same place, that's where you will be next 5 years from now. Same 5 years from now, still giving the same excuses, the same complaints, the same story. So things will never change if you don't change them. You are the only one that can change your circumstances, that can change your future, that can change your life dramatically. I've attracted a lot of people in my life that if I didn't change my way of thinking, I just know it will be impossible for me to be in those kind of circle. It will be impossible for me to come from Ajegule in Nigeria and I'm living in Newport Beach. I'm living in Orange County. It's going to be impossible if I didn't change my way of thinking, my mindset, the way I perceive things. So anyways, I'm going to end this right now. Join us on the closed Facebook group. Go to the link in my bio. Download my free affirmation. Download my free ebook. Download my free affirmation audios. Even if you don't join the challenge, it's all good. You do you. Do whatever makes you happy. Maybe another time you will be a member, you will be a part of this. But you can get to keep my ebook, get to keep my audios for free, and enjoy and start using affirmation.